All right. And we have a very special guest interview this week. We have Abe Maynard, who is from the Ski System, getskisystem.com. He's also on Instagram at the Ski System. Abe, thank you so much for joining us.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I've been really looking forward to getting on here and chatting it up with you guys.
Yeah, I'm psyched we were able to make this happen relatively quickly from when you reached out to us. And I'm glad you reached out, and we're happy to have you. And as we kind of talked about before the podcast started, we had a whole big plan last spring to do a whole thing about fitness and nutrition. And then, of course, the world ended, and we ate a bunch of Ben and Jerry's and drank a lot and
ate a lot
more, did some stupid stuff. But now,
a little bit of weed, and then just, kind of forgot. Like
we're flattening the curve. We're getting back to real life.
It's close. It's within reach. Feels like it.
We can smell it because it's been about a year. It's almost exactly a year when everything started falling apart this week, second week in March. So let us hear about the Ski System. What is it? And what's your background?
Yeah. So I grew up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I was a competitive mogul skier there for going on like 12 years. It was 9 spots from the U.S. team my senior year. And so I just skiing was it was like wake up, think about skiing, go to sleep, think about skiing, eat skiing for breakfast, drink skiing all day long. It's all I thought about. And as a result, to compete at a high level like that, physical training is paramount to your success. If you have a successful off season, you get strong, you build strength, your body functions better, you perform better, and you're at less risk of injury, then your ability to perform in the season and then, achieve greater results throughout is much greater. And so I think I just kind of fell in love with training because I saw immediate application for it. Kind of fast forward through a bunch of different things, and I ended up falling back into that as my professional career for the last 9 years. I was working for Equinox out of Los Angeles, doing personal training with all types of clients, from celebrity clients to your average person just looking to lose a couple pounds, to people that ski in the winter, mountain bike in the summer, kind of the whole gamut.
Big Equinox organization, right? Because they have those in the city. That's the real deal. That means you're one of the top dogs.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of it's the best. I would say Equinox is for sure the number one offering in the luxury fitness space. It's significant notches above a 24-hour LA Fitness. They pump a ton of money and resources into continuing education and making sure that all the trainers that they have meet certain standards as you progress through. So
better than Planet Fitness?
Better a little bit. Ben Stiller's not working there.
Can we judge you at Equinox? Is that allowed?
You want to tread lightly.
No Tootsie Rolls, none of that pizza.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to go there, is because of the continuing education to learn okay, how do I take my whole upbringing as a skier, learn how to actually train people individually, because they're very different things. You can be an amazing athlete and have no idea how to, converse that to individuals. And then the pandemic thing happened and training got flipped upside down on its head. All the gyms closed across the country. And I was just kind of looking what speaks to me. And this idea popped into my head, hey, maybe there's millions of skiers out there who are kind of they get up a bunch of days a year, but they're not living directly in the ski town, or they're going on trips, or they're jumping out for 2 weeks here, or they are someone who's living in a ski town and they're just looking to I don't want to get hurt, because that ruins everyone's season. You blow ACL, not only is that season completely destroyed, but you're now rehabbing, you're in PT, it's in the back of your head every time you click back in your skis. And I just wanted to help eliminate that by helping people all over the world learn how to actually train for the sport, just for skiing.
Well, we've heard people say that they've gone through PT after an injury, and the PT's not gotten them in good shape for skiing necessarily, right? Because you're doing range of motion, you're doing different exercises as well too. So
it's I think the issue is, and physical therapy has such a great place, right? I mean, it literally helps people go from being completely injured and incapacitated to getting back on their feet and moving. The problem is, a lot of times you're dealing with someone who doesn't do the things you do. So Mario comes into me, he's blown his ACL. I'm the PT guy. I'm working with his insurance. I got to get him moving again. And I'm like, what do you do, Mario? Oh, I love to ski. I ski 70 days a year. And unless I'm a skier, that's like, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to run this guy through the motions to get his knee to flex and extend and move. But I'm not thinking about it like an actual skier. Like skiing is extremely specific. It involves lots of speed, gravity, edge control. You have to understand how the body stacks over the bindings, how you move, right? All these things really matter when you're trying to rehab something.
And I want to ski like a baller, not like a little baby. I'm not pizza French frying down.
And you don't want to take breaks. Like you want to ski.
Yeah. You only got a few months a year to do it. So you want to maximize it.
Especially this year. I mean,
if you can get a lift ticket.
This is a year to get your elective surgery and just get the knee operated on. Just rehab.
It should really be an episode about you need to go if you want to get surgery, this is the time.
Now's the time to get it.
You should have blew it out last March. That would have been perfect.
Blow it out and then COVID hits. You're like, this is perfect. Everything's coming up perfect for me.
Yeah, I heard horror stories of people going up to Mammoth. And it was just by the time that they lifted the ban, the whatever statewide ban, it was so many people that hadn't been able to ski yet, all rushing up there, that you might as well just not have gone. Like the lift lines were insane. Wow. They were starting to shut down Mammoth and people were going to June. And so then traffic got really bad. So you had like LA traffic up in Mammoth. I mean, it's a mess.
So if you're new, you hand out cards in the lodge then.
Instead of
I know you're going to need this later.
Well, instead of the ambulance chaser, you could be like the hospital, the ambulance chaser, but a different kind, not the lawyer kind, the kind who's trying to rehab you.
Awesome.
So where are you based right now?
So I live in Encinitas, California now. I was in Steamboat for like 12 years, went to Boulder College, and then I moved out to LA pretty much right away. So in essence, I'm a little bit more of like a weekend warrior at this point in my career, but I love it down here. I mean, I get on a plane and I'm in the snow and no problem, and I don't have to deal with all the winter aspects that I grew to hate when I was a kid.
I hear you, man. That's what I do now, but it's just been tough to travel right now.
So on this podcast, I am the farthest north, and I am in New Jersey. So that's.
And where are you, Mario?
I'm in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay, yeah. So we're enjoying the sun nonstop, right?
That's right. I bike every day. I beach it. You know.
It was 24 degrees and windy this morning, and most of the Northeast, the lifts were shut down because the wind was so strong.
Dude, it got to 78 degrees in the room that I work out of today. I had to put the AC on
today. That's like I went to Sun Valley for a little ski trip like 3 weeks ago, and I'm going back in another week. And it was so easy. I jumped on the plane in San Diego. I was there in like 2 hours, skied a bunch nonstop. There's pretty much no one there because people aren't traveling as much to go ski, and the lift tickets were super cheap.
That's awesome.
So you get like you can go in and just that's kind of like I think in essence. What the ski system really solves is for that person. Like everyone's got the skier that they've always been up here, right? But if I go and I try to ski like 18-year-old me, and it's my first day on snow, like something bad's gonna happen. I know it. So at least this way you can like prep your body for that time to give yourself a little bit of a head start when you get there.
Yeah, at my primary job, I work with a lot of people that like to ski, but they're definitely weekend warriors, and they're definitely not in any kind of great shape. And the comment that just it makes me cringe and I hate, they're like, oh, I just had to ski a few days to get my ski legs back. I'm like, you don't get your ski legs back. You're out of shape. Yeah. Dude, you're going to hurt yourself.
I think the idea of like, the idea of ski legs it's not necessarily true. You can't ski yourself into ski shape. It just doesn't.
That's what
people say that.
Comment for. Yeah.
People do say that.
Do. You hear it all the time. But the thing about skiing is, one, it's extremely specific. The position that you're in skiing, locked into a fixed thing that limits your range of motion, you don't do that unless you are an idiot and you're walking around your office with your ski boots on, right? So like,
hey, don't judge me.
I wouldn't
judge me.
Right? Yeah. Sorry to.
Now that I'm working from home,
I thought that was okay.
How about that guy who did the marathon a couple years ago in London in ski boots?
What?
Did you see that?
Is this like verified or
verified?
You smoke up my ass, and I wouldn't know otherwise.
No, totally legit. This dude, he ran the London Marathon in ski boots.
And I don't even know how to feel about that.
I mean, I respect his insanity in a way. But
that's what it is.
But did he qualify for the London Marathon without ski boots? Because I think he should have had to wear the ski boots to qualify.
Ooh,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's an orthopedic surgeon too, Paul Harnett.
Yeah, don't go to that guy if you ever have an orthopedic issue.
And the funniest thing is he actually broke the record for a marathon in ski boots. So there had already been a level. Someone had set a time and he broke it.
It's a thing. There's other people doing this.
5 hours and 30 minutes. Not too shabby.
Okay, I think you can marathon yourself in ski boots into ski shape.
There you go.
Squash that.
There you go.
That's
we
how
have
you
flipped
do it.
the script 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Now, that said, he did raise £10,000 for the British Paralympic Association and World Orthopedic Concern.
Man, I take
nice,
all the bad things back.
So we took it all.
Maybe he's not such a jerk.
We've gone full circle.
Damn it.
I'm like, okay,
just when you think you got him pegged.
On my boots.
I'm just wondering if did he go to Surefoot to get like custom foot beds? Like what sort of?
And just maybe you can do some cursory research here, but did a snowboarder not do it first? I feel like those boots are much more forgiving.
Yeah. That's not even.
It has to be a snowboarder that did it.
That's
first,
not even a challenge.
Definitely. Yeah, seriously. That's like
that actually might be more enjoyable.
I'm sure Burton makes running shoes, and he's be like, "Oh yeah, they're snowboard boots."
Yeah, right.
$7,000 Arc'teryx snowboard boots for
carbon fiber.
Yeah. Are these good for a marathon? You going to get fitted? I'm going to wear these for a marathon, maybe 2. Are these okay?
Now, if we've raised the level, you got to do it with the skis on next time.
Yeah,
a backgrounding
skis. Ski shuffle.
Snow blades, perhaps. That could work.
You got to put skins on. You lose the traction.
That's true.
Oh, there you go.
So I guess you were a competitive freestyle skier. Then you went to training. Now you have your system. Yeah. How much has training for skiing changed from when you were, in your high school competitive years to now?
It's such a good question. I think is really what ultimately led me to this is I just think back to the stuff that we were doing, and I think just training as an industry was not very progressive. Back then, so I was in high school in 2007. The gym, you go in a gym in 2007, and there's a lot of people waiting for the next piece of equipment. It's kind of circuit training plus some elliptical or some bicep curls or something like that. Right?
I think about. I'm sorry, guys. Whenever I think of an old gym, I think of the guy with the belt that's vibrating. That old.
Oh, like the waist shaker?
Yeah.
No.
What the hell is that about?
Where they stand in it and it goes like this.
Yes, exactly.
It's always like the really fat guy.
There were just those everywhere. That's what the 2007 gym was.
With those giant trapezoidal weights that the guys are lifting up. The handlebar mustache.
That step classes, that's it.
Even in so I was part of a winter sports club. We had a designated training area and coaches and Olympic lifting, everything, like the full shebang. But it was just I would call it archaic. It was kind of just sets of this, reps of that, squat with a barbell, press with a barbell, do some lunges, something like that. Functional training, at least that I was exposed to, this idea of functional training is like training movement patterns that your body actually goes through. So if you watch, it all developed from developmental kinesiology and watching children and how they move. So if you watch a baby move, they do everything perfect. They can walk around on all fours. They go ass to grass when they squat. They can roll over. They can lunge. They can put their hands straight up overhead. And then as we get older and we work in offices and we get on our phones and all this stuff, we start to just progressively lose ranges of motion and mobility in our body. Functional training is this hope to kind of regress us back into a more mobile, stable body through different training principles. Because this now exists, you're seeing it a lot more in strength and conditioning programs for skiing, or how it may vary from football, from basketball, because like I said, skiing is very specific. It involves elements that aren't present in other sports, or they are, but in different degrees. So you're seeing the training change a lot, and it changes by discipline. So a mogul skier, for example, is going to have a very different training program than a GS athlete, partially because you look at like top to bottom GS run in the Olympics versus the time it takes to complete a mogul run. It's like 24 seconds in a mogul run to a little over a minute or so in a GS run. That's a completely different demand on your muscles and like what you're asking your body to do. So both those athletes have to be conditioned in very different ways.
It's like if you were in football, it's like training a center versus like a kicker.
Totally. Wildly different positions, right? Completely different bodies. And now I think even if so someone might be listening going, yeah, but I don't want to go to the Olympics, right? So what does it matter for me? But whether you're going to the Olympics or not, you're going to start on the top of the hill and you're going to come down to the bottom. And a lot of shit's going to happen on the way. A lot of people are going to get in your way. Trees are going to show up. Conditions are going to change. Terrain's going to elevate. It's going to depress. You're going to drop off something. You're going to experience ice, slush, like whatever. All those things are going to happen to an Olympic athlete and you all the same. You're both just going to handle it differently. And so I think that's where ski specific training becomes really 80 days on the hill a year, or you do a couple kind of work trips with your team and you guys go to Utah for like 2 weeks a year or something like that. So that's where it'll be specific, and I think it will change much as it has over the past now 10 years. So.
Well, I think like you said before, like more than ever now, it's going to be like very necessary because, whether you're a weekend warrior, like we were talking, or you're like a promising athlete that maybe isn't in a big program, especially during COVID right now, you got to keep in shape, right? For that time that you do get on the hill, it's more limited now than ever. Right.
Yeah. And I like the tagline that I say is kind of corny, but it's very true, is that there's no off season for the ski season. Like when the ski season ends, what do we all do? Usually we pick up mountain bikes or we run or we find something in the off season. Making sure that you do those kind of things are really important. Mountain biking is especially great because it involves speed and eye coordination. So you're descending at speed and you're navigating things that are going on. If you can train your eyes and your body to respond like that, you're gonna see that on the hill, because that's all skiing is you're cruising down the hill and you're making decisions really, really fast. So training your body to be strong through multiple planes of motion, not just this way, but also in rotation, sideways, up and down, and then choosing sports in the off season that help further those skill sets.
So would you say, is there, I'm guessing, you probably don't want to give too much away about your program. But I guess, is there any cardio exercise that you think is the best thing for skiing? Would it be mountain biking? Because I know we talked to some of the folks from Rollerblade a couple years ago, and they have their skate to ski program. Swimming. I just got an aero ski last year, like that little like ghetto skier's edge. Have you seen that?
Like where it goes like this?
Yeah, it goes back and forth.
Right.
Yeah. So
what is that called? A Ski Cosmo?
Ski Cosmo. Yeah, I don't know if I sent you the link to that. I think I just mentioned it. That's a place. I think it's in either Vancouver or Victoria. They have a giant treadmill.
I follow them. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God. My wife's like, look how cool this is. I'm like, wow, I wonder if they sell this. I'm like, no, you can rent like an hour session for like $200. So I'm sure it costs like $30,000 or whatever. I'm totally making those numbers up. But yeah, it's like a really very
throw it out. Let's just go with it.
Those are facts. It's $30,000 an hour.
Like Michaela Schifrin's training on it. So it's probably something I can't afford.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, is there anything, I mean, is it really possible to mimic skiing in any way that's not actually skiing? Or is there anything that gets you as close as you possibly can?
I'll try not to get like super in the weeds here, because when you're talking about cardiovascular training, then you're also talking about heart rates. When you talk about heart rates, you can get very scientific like too quick, and then it just doesn't make sense. But the biggest thing to think about with skiing is that the answer to that question has a lot more to do with the individual, because there isn't one best form of cardio. It's not that, hey, every skier out there, buy a rower machine and just start rowing. Right. Unfortunately, right? But if you take the average skier, I think what they're looking to get out of the answer to that question is, I don't want to feel like this at the bottom of a run, right? That's their understanding of cardiovascular conditioning, means breathing less heavy when I'm done doing the thing that I love to do. And so if you're getting down to the bottom of a run and you feel completely worked, chances are that you're worked for mostly one reason, and that's that your legs can't repeatedly produce the same action without demanding more and more oxygen, which causes you to breathe more. So you need to be able to improve your, basically like your lung capacity, your respiratory function, but you also need to improve your leg endurance together. Rowing actually does happen to be a really good solution for that because your knees flex and extend. That's what drives the power for the row movement. But then because it's full body in nature, it jacks up your heart rate. And so you demand more oxygen as you do it. Mm-hmm. So rowing becomes really useful because it's multi-joint, it's compounded movement, it elevates your heart rate, and then you can control the pace really easily. So if you're cruising down a groomer, the heart rate's kind of moderate, you hit moguls, wham, 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 it's all power, heart rate spikes through the roof. That would be simulated by really starting to pull as hard as you can and then backing it off. You're back on the groomer. So things like rowing, running uphill is another really good example. So trail running is great because the pitch is going to change as you go, and therefore it's going to affect your heart rate as you go on the run. The other nice thing about trail running is that when you come down, you're doing that hand-eye speed coordination thing again. So you're running, you're navigating rocks, you don't want to roll your ankle, you're watching where the trail goes. So your eyes and your body are having to work together to get the thing done. And that's very much like skiing. So the best thing to do with cardio is choose the thing that you can do and find the frequency that'll get you to do it. Because you can go out, you buy brand new running shoes, get 6 Surefoot insoles, compression socks, really short shorts, awesome headband, and then go like, I fucking hate running, man. And then you're never going to run. So that's
all your stuff
form of cardio. Yeah. If you like boxing, get a boxing bag. Then boxing becomes the best form of cardio because you're actually going to do it. So the best form becomes the thing that you will do, because if you'll do it and you enjoy it, you'll find consistency. And if you find consistency, then it's going to help you when you get back on snow.
Well, I know I do a lot of road biking in the off season, and one of the big things I use is I have my little computer and I watch my heart rate all the time because it tells me when I'm redlining, when I'm going to, if I redline too far, I know I'm going to just come down and be gassed out. So is that something that could help people too, watching their heart rate and training to make sure that you keep your heart rate in the right zone almost? Yeah.
And I guess it depends how much time someone has and how much they're willing to invest, but skiing with a heart rate monitor is actually a really useful way, especially now as we're in,
Well, now we have the Apple Watch. I skied less than Utah with the Apple Watch, and I would look at it once in a while like, oh yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it'll show you. So now we're in, what month is it? March, right?
March, yep.
Already.
We got a month and a half left for ski season for most mountains. I mean, if you're out there, like, grab a heart rate monitor. They're $50 or something on Amazon, and wear it and just use Strava or something like that and just start to collect data and see. And you'll go, oh, wow. Every day that I ski, my heart rate's at like 130. Okay, 130 is like a moderate heart rate. So what can I do as someone who's training now to improve my like moderate zone heart rate to be able to perform longer at that spot? And one way to do that is to then just replicate that in training. So if you find yourself in the gym and you're able to keep your heart rate at or near that same level that you're doing, what you'll notice most when you get back on snow after you get the adjustments of being back in your boots, the pain on your shins, your bottom of your feet hurt, like all those things that we deal with, then you'll have that fitness level because you trained it in the off season. Road biking is awesome. Again, like rowing, it's great because your legs move individually of each other, which is like skiing. No matter what, one foot's always higher than the other. I
notice rowing, I sweat instantly, so that's always good.
But you don't want to do that when you're skiing because then it'll get cold. And now you can buy garments for $1,000 that suck all your sweat off and put it back in the atmosphere.
Finally.
Finally, that's right.
Well, it's funny, like, I love your comment about you find something you like and you'll keep doing it, but it seems like the stuff that benefits you the most is the stuff that's the hardest. But
not necessarily.
Well, sitting on the couch eating ice cream is easy.
Okay,
Ben and Jerry's by the 5-gallon bucket.
But I am going to say, like I follow people like Jocko Willink, and they're like, "Oh, you're not motivated to work out today? Too goddamn bad!" Like, you know what? Like, that's life, man. Like, you got to find your motivation. And I know so many.
What are you willing to give to get what you want? Right?
So many people, it's like you hang up your skis in May. You're like, I'll start working out in October, and then the summer goes by. I know like as soon as I'm done skiing, I get pissed off that ski season's over, and I start working out harder. My problem is I have your old gym mentality. Like I still do the bench press. Like, not that it's bad, but like I still do a lot of the old stuff that I've always done.
Vibrating belt, right?
I get the vibrating belt. I'm like, it's amazing.
Catch a bowling ball.
Honestly,
slow motion.
This is
like Tybo tapes. Like I'm doing Billy Blanks now. Like, but that's so many people like just don't know what to do, and they go, well, I'll just do what I've always done. And I know I get frustrated with that because you want to like, I love skiing so much. Well, we have this podcast obviously, but like, I think about like, what am I doing right now that's making me get better at skiing? And I try to I've been trying to find new workouts and new stuff. And that's why when you wrote to us, I'm like, oh my God, this guy has like, you have the history, the knowledge, now you have the system together. So I guess when people came to you and your clients, is it pretty much you tell them like how they're going to ski and you can customize a program for them?
So I didn't want to interrupt you, but like it's built for you. This is what the ski system, the place in the industry that
I am your clay. I am your piece of clay.
Yeah.
Without the Ben and Jerry's, though,
like,
Brian.
I know what to do. I did it as an athlete for 12 years and I've done it as a trainer for 9. So all the answers are up here. Now I'm putting them into a website that give them to you. Like, I'm going to solve that problem for you because you don't know what to do. And why should you? And it would take you, 24 combined years to figure the answer out for that, right? So instead of getting stuck and going back into our loops, the things we learned in high school, or you worked out with your friend's brother because he was strong and he taught you how to bench press the wrong way. And so you've just done that for 30 years. Like,
never shorts in the gym, only sweatpants. Sweatpants and tank tops.
Yeah, sweatpants and tank tops.
Leg day. It's never leg day. That guy.
This will basically take you. Like if you've never been on the skisystem.com or getskisystem.com, sorry. It'll basically walk you through a funnel of like your exercise history, your ski skill level, your frequency that you're willing to work out, your time commitment, what equipment you have available in or around your house. Like I want to make this as simple as possible and strip all the excuses out of it to make it not fun. And then guide you based on those things, that funnel, into the suggested program. And I'm still writing some of them, but there will be over 55 programs on there that are individualized based on those factors. So you can go, I used to ski, for 15 years. Now I ski 4 or 5 times a year or so, and I have only dumbbells and I don't know what to do. Okay, cool. How many days are you willing to commit? I only want to do it twice. Would you like to do cardio? No, I hate cardio. Okay, cool. Here's your program. And it will spit it out for you. There's 300 plus exercise videos that show, hey, click on this hyperlink. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like, how you should do it, the form breakdown. So that you don't have to worry about like, am I doing this right? Or because that's a big barrier for people. It's like, okay, great. I have a program now, but I don't know what the hell this stuff is. Like, I don't know how to do that. And I don't want to do it wrong because then I'm going to get hurt. And then it's worse than not doing it in the first place. So
that's where like magazines are limited because it's always like, hey, Men's Journal. It's like, oh, hey, here's the workout you do. And it shows like 2 pictures of the exercise. And you're like,
the guy's legs like the size of a Mack truck and he's squatting his best friend. And you're like, no, like, I'll pass.
How do you show someone how to do a Turkish getup with a picture? You're just like, what is he doing? He's like up and then he's on the floor. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. So in the right way, I think that the ski system will handhold everyone. It'll show you this kind of stuff without making it overwhelming, and it'll give you something to do that's concise, it's effective, consistent, and it'll prepare you for the sport you love so that when it comes back around, it's not another off season where it was, too many beers or whatever and things fell by the wayside and you didn't make time. Because we've all had seasons like that. So the other thing is, if you pick up the Ben & Jerry's cup faster and scoop quicker, you'll expel more calories in a shorter amount of time.
Perfect.
Well, my new thing is, if I'm going to eat the whole pint, I got to do a couple push-ups between spoonfuls.
Wow, that's better.
Huge.
Just cultivating mass, bro.
I'm not going to lie. The other night, I bought a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and it was Cherry Garcia, and it was fucking great.
Oh,
and I love it.
My wife.
It's okay to do that, and people need to know that. It's okay.
It's okay.
You don't have to feel bad or shame yourself, right? Just accept it, get it out of your system, and then work out harder.
My wife got 3 yesterday because they were on sale. This is why I'm talking Ben and Jerry's, because
it's on sale. You're losing money if you don't get it.
If you were hanging strict, just body weight, how many pull-ups do you think you could do, like chin over the bar?
Chin over the bar? Probably about 12 to 15.
Okay. So Ben and Jerry's cup, I want you to duct tape it to the ceiling with the number 14 on it. And when you can do 14, then you're allowed to have the Ben and Jerry's.
See, I like that. Yeah. I remember reading a thing. It's motivation. I thought you were going to say, like, put the ice cream upside down and make sure I go all the way up and stick my tongue out and get the bite at the top of each
you'll probably hit the goal faster if you do it that way, I bet.
Until it melts on my face. I'm just sitting on the floor crying with no shirt on, grabbing my fat rolls. I remember reading
That's a dark picture.
That's a very dark place. But I remember reading Kim Kardashian back in the day said when she ate, she would eat naked in front of a mirror. Because then, if she's like, I just look terrible, like I'll have to call my surgeon.
Or is it a two-way or a?
I wish. I mean, this is probably even before.
That was actually she would sit by her front window and do that. She thought it was a mirror. It was at night, 40? And she thought it was a mirre.
Dude,
she's 40.
She's 40.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Blew my mind. I found that out yesterday. Blew my mind. Amazing.
Listen, if you have a $2 million plastic surgery budget every year, we'd all look that amazing at
and a personal trainer, and you got time to. There's a whole different ballgame. But I like your idea about you try to get something tailored to what somebody's willing to do, right? Because you always get these people that jump into the workout fad beginning of the year, and
how many Pelotons has Peloton sold in the last quarantine?
And they get hyped up and they do it for a week, and then they're sore, they're achy, it sucks, they hate it, and they quit.
Yeah.
And that's what the industry, a lot of the industry, the gyms and that are selling these memberships, they're like, oh no, come on in, get some training, do all this stuff all at once, and it burns them out.
And I saw over the last 9 years that I was doing that professionally, and still do. I still train people virtually, so I have like my previous client book, and one thing that's consistent is if the thing ahead of you is too difficult, or it doesn't make sense, or it's not built correctly so that it gets too hard at the wrong spot. Everyone who is starting something for the first time in fitness, they're one excuse away from walking away for who knows how long. And it's not
it's raining out. I'm never going to the gym again.
It happens.
It snowed.
Right?
I don't want to go out. It's cold.
You hit that point where it's like, it's just hard, because the reality is it's tough. Yeah. You're changing your body. You're breaking down muscle to make it stronger. It has to break down for it to repair. None of this is easy. So the thing that helps people find success is just finding what you can do. And it's really important, especially during a time like the pandemic. You don't have a gym, you don't have the fancy equipment. If you have a kettlebell and some space on the floor and you're committed, now you have everything that you need. But it's that minimum frequency, like whatever the thing is that you can commit to, that a year from now, you're still going to be doing that amount. And then if you want to throw stuff on top, sure. If you're feeling up for it, you want to go for a run on the weekend, that's awesome. But find that minimum amount and just commit to doing that. Even if it's 30 minutes a week, like you got to trust in your starting point, and then only build on top of it when you're feeling good. But you hit the nail on the head with the fad things, especially now, because there are so many opportunities to join a new thing, or to get into a new class, or try this workout, or before
now things are opening up, and the summer's coming. People are, I'm going to go take a vacation on the beach. I need to lose some pounds, and the fad starts all over again. The diet and the exercise, right?
Gyms love January. It's the best time of the year. Seriously, it's like
clean up.
Yeah, you barely touch the price on membership, and people just flood through the door. And then what gyms bank on is that those people that they know aren't going to come in February don't cancel the membership.
Yeah, they're supporting the rest of the gym. Like,
all times they lock you in for a year too, and everyone's excited to show up early.
They were at the Equinox I worked at. I think there were about 4,500 members ish, and we would get 1,200 a day.
Wow,
and that's it. And those other thousands of people, they just
contributed. Here's your money.
Free money, yeah.
I mean, when I was my fattest at one point, I was about 215, which is pretty big for me. I'm like 175 now. So a lot of biking and working out. That was Fat Mario. I used to eat the J-Bombs, the
Hold on. Did you just refer to yourself in the third person?
Yes,
like
Fat Mario.
With the adjective fat, yes.
Fat Mario was back there.
I'm going to use that later.
Oh, man. I used to eat like just all sorts of just junk food. I used to order out a lot. And it was just you get into this rut. And I remember going to the gym one time after like a year of never going. And I was like, I haven't gone to the gym in like a year, maybe longer. And I went like once, and then I didn't go for like another 6 months. And it was like, wow. What turned it around was the divorce and getting on the bike.
There you go.
And getting back to skiing.
Yeah.
I started skiing again. Yep.
Well, you see what you need. Like you go out and you ski and you're like, wow, I just got wrecked.
Yeah.
By that. Why did that happen? I never used
I didn't ski for about 10 years, and then I took up skiing again, and that was it.
I was like, lived on
this
a ski
is what
hill.
I need.
That was the craziest thing. You lived in a condo on a ski
Where were
mountain.
You?
Yeah. In New Jersey, though.
Okay. I understand. New Jersey is like the one place I've never skied.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people necessarily ski there. They go down a hill, but
I assure you, everybody shows up. Well, we had a big dump a couple of weeks ago. I went the next day. Everybody from the most populous state, which is New Jersey, was there. And it was just, I will tell you, I have never seen so many people drinking beer in a lift line than that day.
But you saw a guy urinate in line, right?
I saw a guy walk less than 5 feet off the line and just take a piss. If you want a perfect little like description of what New Jersey is, it's those two things.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna say anything to that guy, right?
Exactly.
It's like that's funny. There was a girl behind me, and I'm like, "Look at this! You're getting a free show over here." Yeah. She started laughing.
She's like, "It's not really a show."
She's like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool."
No one wants to see this guy.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Now midweek, it's not bad though. You get a nice quiet day. You go out. That's perfect. That's when you go alone. You just leave everybody behind. Just get out.
You're not missing skiing in New Jersey. I completely assure you.
Yeah, we had nationals were in Killington my senior year, and we got lucky because it was like late March, almost April, so it was a little softer. But I remember skiing. The course is great. They still have the mobile course on that same run. But I remember doing some laps around the mountain, and I'm like, man, this snow sucks.
Yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of ice everywhere.
If you can ski East Coast moguls, you're like the sky's the limit. You can literally ski anywhere.
That was where Mario and I did our share house for like 4 years.
3 years.
Killington. Yeah, that was like, we were there every other weekend, maybe every weekend.
The little waffle place at the bottom.
The waffle cabin there.
Yeah.
Waffle house.
Waffle cabin. Yeah.
Waffle cabin.
But that we would like, so, at first we were doing Mount Snow, which is a smaller mountain a little further south in Vermont. And then we went to Killington. And when we were going every other weekend, like we got so much better. And it got to the point where, we're banging down those mogul runs where, we're getting through it. I mean, you've been on it. You've seen how gnarly it is and how it's steep, it's nasty, ice moguls. But like, that's the thing that you start ticking those boxes like, oh, I can do this now. It's like, well, what else can I do? And I know we've all had those days where you wake up, you're like, you feel like crap. You're like, I'm going to ski like crap today. You do the first run. It's awful. And then somehow you hit a run and you're like, oh my God, like, how did I do that? Like just getting that it's almost like golf too, where like, you have a lousy round of golf, the last hole, you nail a 20-foot putt. You're like, oh my God, I'm coming back next week, for sure.
No, it's funny you say golf. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just like, you never know what you can unlock. And I know, we're all getting older, and my motivation now is I have a 3-year-old son and a 5-month-old daughter, and I want to be there teaching them and skiing with them as they get to their formative years. And that's keeping me super motivated and super excited. I mean, I've skied, I think, 8 days this year, and it's 5 of them with my son. And it's just me putting him on a leash and letting him bomb down, and me trying to teach him to ski into me. But like, I want to build that stoke and that excitement for the sport with him young.
And then teach him the off-season workout stuff too.
That's right. I got him moving kettlebells around. He's 45 pounds.
That's over there.
Dude, he's 3.5. He's 45 pounds, but he's like solid. He's like picking up like 26-pound kettlebells and moving them around. I'm like, this kid is going to be
half his body
weight. He's a tank. Wow. He's a little tank.
See, I'm telling you, it's because they have good mechanics. It's easy to pick something off the ground when you can hinge down and get it off the ground. It's hard to pick something off the ground when you bend over from your mid back and hoist the thing.
Yeah, I'm worried about him dropping it on his toes. That's the big thing. Besides that he's awesome. Yeah. Never hit into that one, that's for sure. That happens.
Yeah, they'll be skiing circles around you a little bit. That's why it's so important to stay active.
That's what's keeping me motivated. Yeah. To keep in shape, to be able to, like, not be that, like, fat, useless dad who we've all seen plenty of times. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
Mario from past.
Fat Mario. Yeah, we don't want to be the fat Mario.
Fat Mario or there's Fat Brian with the Ben and Jerry's, right?
Some of those share house nights, man. 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's in a night. I mean, really?
One person?
One person. Fat Brian.
That's hard to do. I would get sick. I can eat it physically, but I would get sick.
We went out there for 2 weeks, and I thought I had a tapeworm or something because I had like 6 meals a day. Ben and Jerry. I was just burning up so many calories. I was like eating like 6 meals a day. I was like, I had 3 like dinners one time. I was like, I'm just so hungry.
Before we did this podcast, like this was what inspired this podcast. We did our share house. We were out there for a whole week before Christmas, and it was like nobody was there. We would ski all day, and then we would just go out to dinner and pig out and après at night. And yeah, there was one night Mario had 3 dinners. Like he was just so hungry.
I came home after the second. Well, we had appetite. I had a bunch of appetizers, wings and stuff. Then I ate dinner, and then I came home and I'm like, I'm still hungry. I made like an egg sandwich. I was like, I was just starving. I was like, is there something wrong with me?
How did you change that behavior?
Oh, well, I don't ski like every day anymore.
Yeah.
No. Like 215 to 175. That's a serious, like, to lose that one is impressive, and the 2 to keep it off is legitimately awesome.
Yeah, just stopped ordering takeout.
Behavior change.
Yeah, but I got heavy in probably like within 2 years or so, and then I just decided I was like, I got to change what I'm doing. So I stopped ordering out, started cooking at home more. And then the big thing for me was I just started biking and then started skiing again, and that was it.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Biking just shed the weight for me.
Yeah,
and the divorce helped too.
It's long duration.
Divorce helped too. Yeah, but I'll go out. I'll bike 50 miles, no problem. 50, 100 miles. So you do that much, you're just burning. Yeah.
It's that's a sport that I wish people would take up more in their weight loss journey, because you can do it for a long time per ride, and you can keep the heart rate manageable. And if you're at those low heart rates, your body's going to metabolize fat pretty damn well. So you do that a couple times a week, and it really does help lose fast.
Yeah.
But if you're not comfortable on a bike, you're not going to be comfortable riding. So you
got to get the really weird looking pants that everybody makes fun of, the spandex. You got to get the chamois, otherwise your ass is going to get chapped.
My buddy and I joke, because we mountain bike in the summer, and we do more like enduro stuff.
Yeah.
And I really do want to get into road biking, but I'm like, I'm going to become one of those guys.
The outfit. You don't
one of those guys.
Weird shoes and the weird outfit.
But I love gear. Like, I love buying gear is like my favorite thing in the world. I'll get into a sport just so I can buy more fucking gear. And I know.
Well, skiing's the right sport for that, right? And biking.
I know. It's crazy.
Well, then biking, you start looking at bikes. You're like, $6,000 on a bike. Yeah, that's let's spend that. But then again, Brian, you mountain bike.
Really need carbon
a good amount on yours.
Hubcaps.
Don't you have those? Didn't you buy carbon fiber wheels?
I'm like, how many people?
I bought special wheels.
Bikes. They go by at a stoplight, and I'm like, there's no way that half of this group of dudes benefits from the tech on those bikes.
Right. They just get it because they have the money. It's
The best is the fat guy with the carbon fiber wheels. It's like, bro, you could lose 10 pounds and just be fine on your regular wheels.
So I bought a set of wheels.
Like golf.
Yeah.
So I bought a set of wheels that were more than the bike. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They were about $1,200.
Wow.
For a set of wheels. And that was on sale. They were like clearance, and they were special wheels. They were whatchamacallit? What's the brand? The Kassarian wheels that I got. But they were about as much as my bike, because I got a low end bike.
Did you notice a difference?
Yes. So I use them when I do races or something like that, like anything like competitive. I'll use those. But I'm on like an old Trek. Like, people look at it like, oh, it's a aluminum Trek. Like, oh, you don't have carbon fiber. I'm like, no, that's all right. And then I blow people away, and they're like, Oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, you got some nice fancy bike and you suck at riding it, you know?
You're like the guy you see in line with the rear entry boots and the old skinny skis who gets up there and just like rips through everything.
Just rips through. That's right.
Yeah.
I like people noticing, oh, you got one of those bikes. You got, oh, that's an aluminum frame. I'm like, yes. My ass doesn't need to be pampered the way yours does on that carbon fiber.
Dude, one time, it's a complete sidebar story, but it's exactly that thing happened. I was in this phase where I was playing a lot of golf, and I had I bought new golf shoes, and I got a nice putter, and I was taking lessons, doing all the shit that of course doesn't make you better. And this guy at my work was like, "Hey, we should play sometime." And I was like, "Cool, yeah, we'll go play the course I always play." And I'm kind of walking into it like, I'm just gonna scratch this guy. He shows up in sandals to play 9 sandals, actual sandals. And I was like, "You can change over in the clubhouse." And he's like, "No, I'm good to go.
This is what I got."
Yeah, it was a public course, so you didn't have to wear shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my head, I'm like, man, this is just going to be one of those days, huh? And I go and I tee off and I have a decent shot. And he gets up there and he fucking obliterates this ball. And I'm like, you're like, what the hell? I was like, okay, fluke. For sure that was he got lucky. And then it was like a Caddyshack with Chevy Chase. He's like, no. And he's just thinking
getting everything in, just
fully zen in his sandals.
Yeah, he just didn't. I was like, that's golf right there. You care so much, and you're just gonna suck. And then the moment that you're like, I hate golf, whatever. You play in sandals and you shoot like a 60. Yeah. I was like, okay. So the gear is not what makes you better.
Well, golf for me mentally, I check out at hole 12 to 14, and then I'm just I just want to go. That's when the beers start going. I'm like, I'm done. I don't care if I'm shooting under par. It's done. That's it.
Well, there's a certain that guy. So, there's a certain zenness he probably had to the game. He wasn't freaked out. He wasn't didn't have his range finder and his, $600 driver. He was just there. He was just being the ball. He was, and there's something.
I love the people with the range finder that talk to them and all. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You got an assistant on this course?
But that's part with skiing too. There's something that's so zen about it. And, if you can't do things to make you better at it, why wouldn't you? Everyone's doing some sort of exercise. And if you love doing it, if you don't, fine, whatever. But why listen to this podcast then? But if you're someone who is into it, you want to be better at the thing you love doing. So is there any sort of
doesn't necessarily get you there. You got to put the time and energy in, right?
Show up.
You got to work out. You got to get that exercise, the right system for you, right?
It's funny we're talking about golf because I trained this guy, and this is a really good example of earlier I was saying whether you're an Olympic athlete or not, or if you're just kind of the average person going skiing, is this stuff really for you, or how is it actually going to help you? And I trained this guy he actually came to me because he was going to do a mountaineering excursion in Washington that was 3 days, and he's like, I'm going with the corporate team and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm kind of freaked out because I need to be ready for this thing. And I was like, I got you. I used to hike and ski and everything. So we put together this program, and he went and they crushed the hike. And as a result, he's like, hey, I just want to keep training because, my body feels really good and I like where this is at. And it turns out he was an avid golfer. And he took me to go play at his country club one time. And we got to this hole and he set up and he hit the ball and he just stood there and he was like, wow. And I was like, that's super weird. I was like, hey man, is you okay? He's
your moment?
What? Yeah. I was like, kind of, should I let him? I don't know what's going on. Should I
let him enjoy his moment?
And he turns around and he goes, I've played this golf course for 20 years and I've never driven that hill. And I know why that happened. It's not because we trained for golfing. It's because we trained mechanics. We trained can you improve range of motion? Cool. Can you strengthen the range of motion? Yes. Now, can you make that range of motion a little bit more powerful? Can you take someone who sits in a desk all day and get them to do a kettlebell swing and reverse the motion? And all these things transfer, because if you take your body and you just make it better at standing, you're going to be better at skiing. If you take your body and you make it better at squatting, it's going to be better at skiing. So if then you take it and you just make it better at everything by finding a minimal frequency that you're able to go and train, then when you get on the hill, your body, you're going to move better. You're going to have better proprioception. You know where your body is in space. And so that thing, even if you did the wrong things, but you did them consistently, you're going to feel it 100% on the hill. Your body's going to function better as a unit. And so you're going to have a better time. And the stronger you get, the more that you fight the risk of injury, which is huge.
Especially as we get older.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think too, one thing people often forget about, some people still think that if you're, you want to work out, you want to take care of your body, you're stupid. It's like a Neanderthal kind of thing. But you know what? Like if you like the story you just talked about, someone getting better and the thing they love, they did better at, playing golf. But again, it unlocks things in your brain too. You're like, wow, I did this. And now I'm capable of this. What if I keep going in that direction and change? What else am I capable of? And I think it starts unlocking pathways in your mind and in your what you're capable of doing. You can break things down even as you get older now, because again, we have advanced so much in technology, in our knowledge of how the body works, nutrition, supplementation, and we're like they say, was it 30 is the new 20 and 40 is the new 30? Like that's really true at this point, because we are being able to maintain a higher level of performance as we get older, if we do the right things, if we care enough to do the right things. And I think it's so cool, like a program like yours, catering to different levels of skiers to help you get better and keep doing the thing you love. Because, we were out in Alta a couple years ago, and we saw like the 70-plus-year-old ski club that were there at the same time. There was a ton of them. And there's one guy who's like, yeah, I'm 80 plus. I'm still part of this club, and they're getting out there. They're going after it.
And they were skiing really well. That's what
they were.
You're just like, wow, you ski really well. Like it's just, so when I went,
something that keeps you motivated, something that keeps you going, and that's half the battle, is finding the thing that you want to motivate you. And, all of us here, we all love skiing, and we all want, that's one of our things that we can use to motivate us. That's the carrot we can dangle in front of us to keep us going.
Yeah. They call it like finding your why. And that's a really important factor for anyone that's going through. I mean, this is more on like the behavior change side of things and less, I think, on the get ready to go ski for the winter. But maybe that is the why. Like if you don't have an underlying driving force for the thing you're trying to accomplish, whether it's losing 30 pounds, it's becoming a better father and being able to be there for your kids as they get better at something and you want to be there to support them. Whatever those things are, if there's not a reason underneath for why you're doing it, it's just not going to happen. You're going to hit that point where you're faced with this decision of like, this is hard, I don't like it. Like we've all had that in everything. Mm-hmm. Or, well, my why is stronger than the this is hard, I don't like it, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Doesn't matter. If you hear this all the time when people go in for a routine checkup and they find something that's, extremely risky on their body, or they have, some sort of lump that they weren't expecting to find that time. And they sit down with the doctor and it's like, look, it's like this or like this. So the ball's in your court. And those people change instantly, because all of a sudden their why has grown exponentially, because it's life or death. And so it doesn't matter. You throw anything at them, they're going to overcome it because their driving force is more important. So with this, I think injury prevention is definitely going to be a big one for people. Is I don't like, because I live this every day. If I'm going to go ski, when I was in high school, I lived on the ski mountain. I trained every single day. I was skiing, umpteen days a year. And now I'll ski. I probably get out there like 20 times a year. Right. And they're kind of like weekend trips. It's like a 3-day here, 4-day there, or whatever. I do not want to get fucked up when I go.
Yeah. Well, especially because your livelihood depends on you being.
You got other stuff to do. Yeah.
You can't everything I like to do is surfing and riding bikes and hanging out with friends, or just not being hurt. Being hurt sucks. Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah. Whether it's a slip in your disc, a bulge in your disc, an ACL, MCL, a tweak, whatever. And they happen at the dumbest moments. You're in the lift line. Someone comes behind you. They're not paying attention. They're going a little fast. They push you. Your ski goes right. You go left. You blow your ACL. That happens all the time. And it happens more frequently to the people that ski less frequently. So having that as a driving force for people of like, why should I train? Why is it important? That's one of the reasons for sure.
Well, the other thing too is if you do get injured, your chance of a quicker and better recovery is better if you're in better shape, right? like because you have that muscle tone and you have everything kind of the basis that you need.
Yeah, if you have a full range of motion in a joint and you get injured and you lose it, you can get back to the full range. But if you had a limited range to begin with and then you get hurt, you're not going to get back full range.
Right.
You're going to get back to the limited range and then you're at ground zero again and then you can move forward. So it's definitely, I've been telling a lot of people too, like people reach out and they go, why do I need to train like my upper body? It doesn't make any sense. The skiing is a lower body sport. True. So is mountain biking until you hit a rock because you clipped out of your pedals, right? All of a sudden it's upper body sport because your shoulder is the first thing that's going to hit the ground. And what do you want around bones? Muscle, because it's shock absorber, it redistributes force, everything like that. So getting people to think of like, even though skiing is a lower body dominant sport, it's really important that we train everything like head to toe, front to back, because if you fall, you catch an edge, you slip, you hit a tree, you uncover a rock. That happens to people all the time early season. I had a friend who ruptured his spleen that way. Oof. You want muscle around your bones. You know, like you want to hit it and go, ugh, and get up and ski down the hill and not hit it and be like, all right, I need ski patrol. And that is preventable by properly training 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at sprinters, you watch any like 100-meter dash, they're all lots of upper body. Their whole body is working, they're pumping. And you can see if you're going to do a ski tour, you got it when you're moving your shoulders, when you're hiking up, like that takes a lot of effort too. And it's easy to forget those pieces. And, it's a whole, your whole body needs to be working better, obviously, like you kind of mentioned. So
absolutely,
just getting back to a quick couple questions, because it's been almost an hour now and you got
I knew it would fly by. It always does.
Yeah. Right. So do you have
it just means we have to have you on again. That's what happens.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite piece of training equipment?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like a ride or die for kettlebells, and my weightlifting history has done everything. Like I ran, I played soccer in high school. I was training for skiing in the off season. So we did like trampoline training, gymnastics, and was in the weight room doing Olympic lifting. So like snatches, cleans, jerks, everything like that. I've competed in Olympic weightlifting. And then I trained kind of with everything for the past 9 years as I like learn more modalities and how to apply them. But the reason that I like love kettlebells and especially love kettlebells for skiing is it's such a singular piece of equipment that can do so many things. Like you can press it, you can pull it, you can row it, you can hinge with it, you can deadlift it, you can lunge with it, you can squat with it. You can do all these things and you only need one if you're like absolute bare bones. So if you're someone out there who's like, all I have is a basement, I don't really want to buy a gym, right? I don't want to get a bunch of equipment. What should I get? Get a kettlebell and just start moving it around. It also like the way that they sit. So if you hold a dumbbell, there's something here and here, right? So you're holding it in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. When you hold a kettlebell, it sits on the back of your forearm. So when it's overhead, it actually weights over your back. So it helps strengthen all the posterior muscles naturally just by its design, which is really useful because we're super frontal beings. Like we sit in chairs all day. When you get up, you use your quads to get up, not your glutes, because you've been sitting on them for however long. We walk around on our toes and our quads leaning forward. So anything that you can do that starts to strengthen everything behind you is super, super good. Kettlebells, I absolutely love them. And I implement them into a lot of different training programs. And they'll definitely be a component on the ski system. Like if you only have dumbbells or if you only have a kettlebell or you do have gym access and you want like kind of the full shebang, it'll be able to tailor towards each of those.
Awesome.
How about most overrated?
Most overrated
exercise belt, right?
Exercise or piece of equipment.
I think this is as a coach, I'm always hesitant.
Shake weights, maybe.
To say this.
Shake weights.
Okay. Let's just shut it down. Absolutely, by and large, the dumbest thing that's ever been created is shake weight. The fact that someone
they look so funny though. They're magical.
And they walked into the room. They go, "Okay, cool. Show us. How do you use it?" And they're like, "You go like this." And they go, "I think that we'll put this into production."
Here's $5 million.
Somebody green-lighted that.
Well,
now they sold them though. They sold them. People bought them.
So much money.
What about look? I'm working out right now.
So then you were getting it because it was a joke, not so they had sales because the people were fucking buying these. Then that stopped, and then people bought them as a joke. So you had this like.
What about a vibrating kettlebell?
I talked to the shake weight people. I don't know if they could probably make it happen.
Maybe it would be on. It's like moving around. And you got to like reel it in a bit.
Foam roller.
I mean,
that thing is
the South Park episode.
Yeah.
Did you see the South Park?
It sprays the cooling mist and gives you change.
Like that.
Genius.
That had to be going through people's minds at the meeting. Come on.
Yeah. Yes, this is a great idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would say, in all seriousness, exercises and I would. So, let me start over. I would always usually answer this by saying equipment, like stationary equipment, right? So like
Nautilus equipment.
Yeah, where you're just seated bicep curl, seated tricep extension, seated anything. Because when you sit, you're not getting your body to work as a unit, which like unless you're gonna just ride the chairlift around in circles, right? It doesn't make any sense to train you're just sitting on the chairlift like this. But the reason that I don't dog really anything that you can find in a gym is because with the right coach and the right situation, everything makes sense. That's why it's there. So if you're a geriatric client and you ski twice a year and you have a major hip problem, you probably shouldn't be squatting your body weight with a barbell, right? So sitting down and doing calf raises or doing leg extensions, those definitely have their place. Or if you're coming off an injury. So I think when I look in a gym and I go, what's taking up space here that doesn't need to be, it's usually equipment. But then I think about those situations where it really does apply to specific people.
I didn't get that.
Oh, thanks, Siri. And you don't want them. You don't want those people to feel like they don't have a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, she felt offended. I'm sorry.
Maybe Siri's overrated. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Didn't hear that.
So also, is there like a dream piece of equipment you wish existed? I mean, and I kind of threw this out at you, and I didn't know if you're like, wow, that's a
like the shake weight for skiing
thing.
Or something like that.
You know what? Like, I actually had an interview at Peloton a couple years ago. I didn't get the job, obviously, and the stock options, but you know, like the Peloton, what it's done for biking, you know, it's just the amount of people who've bought these things is incredible. Like, imagine if there was some sort of like skiing device, almost like the Skier's Edge, the Ski Cosmos, that kind of thing, where, you know, again, I'm thinking insanity, like a virtual reality version where you could like hike up, you know, like do like a ski tour and then go ski Corbetts, like, and somehow there's like a piece of equipment that replicates that.
I think that have you guys ever played around with the Oculus?
Not yet.
Just some super ghetto VR stuff. Yeah.
I would say so.
Mainly porn, right?
Just porn, yeah.
I got to try it on and I was like, oh my God, we're fucked.
Is it really super immersive? Is it?
Oh my God, it's so trippy.
It's like the movie Ready Player One. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. I mean, I'm standing here.
So you get a bunch of kettlebells and your Oculus, and that's all you need, right?
Well, what I'm saying is you put that on and you are on Corbetts and you're on something that does. So I think to answer your question practically, one thing that should be in every single gym that you probably saw more in CrossFit facilities that are starting to spill in. Are you familiar with what a landmine is?
No.
So if you take a barbell and you stick it into like a free moving anchor.
Oh, it's almost like a home plate with like a hole in it, right?
Yeah, it looks like that. Exactly. So landmines are great. And they, like I said, they kind of showed up in like CrossFit and then strength and conditioning specialty places, like places that work with baseball players, something like that. But they weren't not super common in gyms, but they're really nice because you can go across your midline with them. So you can challenge like your core muscles and rotation through different planes of motion. They're really good for people that have limited range of motion in their shoulder because you can press, but it doesn't take you all the way overhead and create impingement. And it's another one of those like big bang for your buck exercises because it's only one piece of equipment and it's very minimal loading to create a lot of stress on the body. So you can do a ton of different exercises and all you need is like a 10-foot radius.
Wow.
And I'm big on like, I don't want people to not do something because they don't think that they have the right amount of stuff, or they don't have a gym membership, or they don't want to go to the gym, or this or that. Like, you can do so much even just with your body weight, and anything beyond body weight, even if it's one kettlebell, a landmine, a step up, a box, something like that. There's a lot that you can do. But to Brian's point earlier, it's not knowing what to do with those things that stops people from getting involved with them. So hopefully this can kind of show people, like, it's okay if you only have your grandma's old set of dumbbells that have been sitting around collecting dust for a while. We can make that work. Or you only have the stairs outside on your balcony for right now. We can make that work. Like, there's a lot that you can do that's thought out, that's smart, and involves multiple joints to actually get you like prepped for whatever it is you're doing.
And it's proven because you have a history.
Now, if you had Elon Musk money, would you have every piece of gym equipment ever made?
I honestly, when pandemic happened, I built a gym in my garage here. Nice. And I went like what I felt like was all out. I got all the stuff that I'd ever wanted. And if you looked at it, you'd be very underwhelmed. It's like a squat rack, a bench, a set of kettlebells, dumbbells, bands, and a place to do Olympic lifts. And that's it.
That's cool.
If I had Elon Musk money, I'm going to Mars, though. 100%. I am not hanging out here. I'm going to Mars, and I'm building ski mountains on Mars. And
be like Johnny Appleseed of Mars.
Olympus Mons. That's the mountain there.
Yep. I'm not hanging out here.
Well, since you are stuck here, getskisystem.com. That's where folks can get all the information. When is the program actually going to launch?
Great question. So if you go now to getskisystem.com, you get 15. I've enunciated that wrong, and it sounded like 50 before. So 15% off the subscription when we launch, which will be around the end of April, beginning of May. So I just went through like all the wireframing and everything with the developers, and we're just making more final tweaks until it's ready to go. What I'd love to do is offer something specifically to your guys' listeners. So maybe we can chat and come up with what's best or what people are really interested in. And then when we do the launch, we can come back on and give that to them. So
perfect.
That'd be cool.
That way they can get started.
And also go check you out on Instagram. That is The Ski System. And you can see some of Abe's videos, which are actually pretty clever,
very cool,
pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would have gotten theskisystem.com, but some prick bought it.
Right? We know how that goes.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything with it.
I know. So people do that. And ladies, a lot of shirtless pictures of Abe. So,
There you go.
That was for old fat Mario.
Little entertainment. That's motivation for old fat
right
Mario.
There. Oh.
I gotta get some old fat pictures of old fat Mario because they're out there somewhere. I looked at my face. I was like,
I'll put him in the gym. Big fat heads of old fat Mario and before and after, and people be like, "Oh my god!"
Before and after. Gotta do the before and after.
I think I'm gonna bogart old fat Mario. That's gonna become my alter ego.
Old fat Mario. You gotta do it.
Go to ice cream. Go to the store. Buying some Ben and Jerry's. Old fat Mario's back.
You just look at the picture and be like, "Look at yourself, then."
I'll go over to 7-Eleven and be like, I'm old fat Mario today. Wine, Ben Jerry's, Cheetos.
You got to wear a fat suit though. You got to wear the little fat, so you look like a little chubby guy going in there getting all your
wrestle suit.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And I have one more question for you, and I actually asked this of Johnny Mosley. Do you have any tips for doing a backflip? Because,
dude,
because as an older gentleman that I am, I'm still inspired.
He wants to do a backflip into Corbett's. That's his dream.
Not into Corbett's.
Hate me. You're gonna hate me, but
I want the truth.
I can't do backflips on skis. It's like I did my run competition was always like 360 or 720 up top and cork 7 on the bottom. I cannot.
Why don't you just stick to the 720, Brian?
Freaks me out, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I don't like it.
He told me to try it in pools first, and I was like, "Yeah, it's probably good advice."
You won't end up in traction that way.
Trampolines, and then we did water ramp training in steamboat, like into a lake. I can do them.
Was that fun?
Straight airs.
Water ramp training.
Yeah, I mean it's great until it's October and you're jumping in the lake with a dry suit on. Like we would do that. It was horrible.
Wow.
You're literally jumping into a freezing lake. But I did like one, I don't know. I thought I was going to start to use the backflip in competition for my junior and senior year. And so I trained it all summer, and I hate going straight and going back like that. I don't like it.
Creepy, isn't it? It's like freaky.
Weird, yeah.
It's unnatural.
I watch people on Instagram all day long do big fucking back layouts off cliffs and stuff. And I'm like, no, I'll go a little sideways. Totally fine. But straight back, I'm not doing it.
Well, people like
advice. Don't do it.
Well, you watch like Jerry of the Day, and like you see people who like can barely ski, and they try to like sending it off a jump, doing a backflip, and like they end up like just landing on their neck, and you're like
well, notice they're being filmed because the person that's filming him talked him into doing it.
Yeah,
it made him believe it was a good idea.
Yeah,
that's the problem with social media. You got kids backflipping. They don't. No pizza, no French fry, and then they backflip.
What's up with that?
Goddamn kids.
I think here's what you should do, though, in all seriousness. And this was the very first time I ever did a backflip on skis. I built about a 1 foot jump in the alley behind my house.
Nice.
And I threw it as hard as I could. And I made it around like almost. When tips into the ground, face into the ground, covered in snow. And I got up and I looked at my buddy and I was like, I fucking did it.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Well, if nothing else, at least the ski system will have me trained and my body prepared to accept that crash, right?
If you decide to send it, Brian, you'll be in better shape.
I could be the poster boy.
Mario needs to film it. He's got to like.
Yes, I'll get it on film.
You know,
we might need a drone for that.
Yeah, no, you got it for sure. You definitely.
Yeah. You got this, bro.
I watch you practicing. You're fine.
You're good.
All right.
You're there.
Abe, thank you so much for your time. So you go to getskisystem.com. You can sign up there for 15% off before it launches in April. Go to instagram.com/theskisystem. Get more info. Follow him. Get in shape, people. Jeez, next ski season,
That's right.
Quarantine's
ending. You got to get in shape.
From quarantine to Corbett's.
Quarantine will be over, and
someday
the ski season's going to happen next year. That's
right.
I know this will happen. A lot of people will get injured next year, and I don't say that to wish it on people, but it'll happen because so many people didn't get to ski this year. They're going to be overhyped about it next year, and you'll probably see the most people that you've seen on ski hills next year when all of this is lifted. I'm sure.
Taking sled rides.
Jerry of the Day is excited.
So I wish everyone the best in staying healthy. Be careful. Train your bodies. Get ready.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Make it count. All right, cool. Thank you so much, and check them out.
Thank you guys. It's been great.
All right. Yeah, you too. Take care.